Okay, so here we are. Um, I saw this video on Facebook. A friend sent it to me, and I felt that the conversation she was having in this video was a very interesting one and very important one. And I want to make a response video to a lot of things you were saying. I did see some of this video already. I watched maybe half of it. I didn't get into the whole thing. But here we are. And before I start this, the audio isn't the best because like this is a new computer I have here. I don't have like capture audio for my like desktop right now. It's just coming off from this microphone. So I apologize in advance if you can't like hear her as loudly as you can hear me. This woman's name is Candace. Hold on, I don't know who this woman is. This is my first time ever seeing her, so I don't know if she's famous or anything. But her name is Candace Owens. So let's see what Candace Owens has to say about all of this stuff going on.
Hello, Facebook family. I have decided to do this video. It has been weighing very heavily on my heart and on my mind as well. And it was something that I wanted to say early on, but there were so many emotions and so much pressure for me to go with the popular opinion about who George Floyd was. And sometimes it can be difficult when there are just so many external pressures to say what you believe. And this was an instance where I felt like my silence would have been better in the beginning, but the more that I think about it, I realize that we are being sold a lot of lies, and at the detriment to the Black community, at the detriment to the white community, and at the detriment to America as a whole. So I want to come out and say that I do not support George Floyd and the media depiction of him as a martyr for Black America. I'm going to
Okay,
explain why.
so let's just pause it right there. So her I'm not gonna get into like her whole argument because I want like her to speak for herself as the video progresses. But what she just said was that she doesn't hold George Floyd as a martyr for the black community, and she doesn't support him as an individual. Um, so let me just say, and I might repeat this about 50 times during this video because I feel like she touches on like I feel like my response would be the same thing for a lot of things that she says. Um, George Floyd isn't a martyr in the sense that you're talking about. Like we don't hold him like he's not our Martin Luther King. You know what I mean? Like he's not our Malcolm X. He's not our Rosa Parks. He's not, he's not that for us. What it is with him was, his video went viral and it sparked a lot of controversy, and it may not have been intended for him to be the face of the Black Lives Matter movement, or the shit that's going on culturally. It's just the fact of this story, this George Floyd story, is a story that has happened so many goddamn times, Um, and this is just right after the Breonna Taylor story. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. After that story, it's like I remember back when the Mike Brown thing happened years ago. It seemed like that year, every week it was like a new thing. Like cop just killed a black guy, unjustifiably, and this stuff is seeming to be like another one of those things where it's like if we don't turn up now, there's going to be more of this. And in an age where social media I think is at its peak, and especially with like all the outrageous subgroups of Twitter, the whole cancel culture shit. Everyone already has it in them to get angry about things. This is actually something that's worth getting angry about, and it isn't the fact that he was such a great person as she later goes on to say in this video, it wasn't about whether or not he was a great person. It was the fact of him being murdered by police for not a good reason. I don't care if this man was a drug dealer. I don't care if he was on drugs. I don't care if he was doing a crime. If he was doing crime, he should be treated like anyone else who does a crime. He should go to jail. He should, be arrested, go through the whole thing, all the motions. Get arrested, handcuffed, put in the car, taken off to the precinct to be evaluated later, whatever the fuck. If he was doing a crime, let that happen to him. The fact that he didn't have that freedom, the freedom to go through that process, the fact that his life was just taken. If I do a crime, I would hope that, if I do a crime that isn't just for me to get killed by, if I get killed for something, like if I don't know, if I snatch a purse, it's fucked up that I snatched the purse. It's a horrible thing to steal something from someone else, especially if it was like an old lady or some shit who can't defend herself. That's fucked up of me to steal that purse. But I shouldn't die behind it. I should get the consequences that is equal to my crime. And I think that part is the part that has people so angry. The story is that he used a fake $20 bill in a convenience store or whatever the fuck. Whether or not he knew the 20 was fake, I don't know. You can't ask him because he's fucking dead. So it's all just speculation. And even if he did use the fake 20, is that worth his life? But I'm gonna let this video continue.
And I hope that some of you guys will understand where I'm coming from. I have spent a considerable amount of time reading a lot of Black authors that I think are some of the most brilliant Black Americans breathing. Walter Williams, Shelby Steele, Thomas Sowell, and I recently came across something that was an idea that was planted into my head by Shelby Steele, and it has been something that I cannot forget. It is something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And it is something that I hope for the Black Americans that are watching will stick with you for the rest of your life. Shelby Steele said that the Black community is unique from other communities. Our culture is unique from other communities because we are the only community that caters to the bottom denominator of our society. Now, let me explain what that means. It means to say that not every Black American is a criminal, not every Black American is committing crimes, but we are unique in that we are the only people that fight and scream and demand support and justice for the people in our community that are up to no good. You would be hard pressed.
Okay. She goes on to explain like further her point. This is a bad freeze frame of her. Sorry, I don't have you looking the most flattering right now. But she says that we as Black people champion like bad Black people as far as like criminal Black people. And again, like I said earlier in this video, I don't think that people are championing Floyd's life. Like, maybe there's some of that, but I think the main focus of this whole issue is that this keeps happening. If George Floyd was the first person to be killed by a cop, people will be angry, but I don't think they would be as outraged as they are knowing that this has been going on for centuries. Black people for centuries have been, in this country, oppressed, systematically oppressed. And then when we have people in power, like the police, who are supposed to, handle us with care, and then this is what we get over and over, it doesn't matter if they're criminals or not. You've seen countless times where people get pulled over, not doing anything wrong, one way or another get killed because they're Black. It's no other reason than that. You don't see innocent white people being killed by police. Maybe every here and there, but not as much as it happens to us. I can this you I know this woman because she started her video by saying Facebook family, which leads me to believe she's privy to the internet. I'm sure she's seen the list of names of people who didn't do anything wrong, and even if it's not murder, even if they don't get killed, just people who get harassed. I've been harassed by police for doing nothing. Me, I'm not a fucking criminal. My friends have been harassed by police. We go into designer stores and get scoffed at and get dirty looks. We walk down the street in neighborhoods that don't seem like we belong there and get stopped by cops. We fucking even on the internet, we deal with hateful comments. We deal with so much stuff in this country that's just not even systematically. So when the system gets involved to a point where, okay, you see time and time again people are being killed by police for nothing, for nothing but being black. Whether or not George Floyd was a model citizen, that's not the point. The point isn't, oh, he was a great man, let's fight for him. We're not fighting for him. We're fighting for us. We're fighting for our kids in the future. We're fighting for you. For you. If a police... I'm going to just continue her video.
To find a Jewish person who has spent 5 stints in prison, who commits a crime and dies while committing a crime, and that the Jewish people champion and demand justice for. You will be hard-pressed to find this.
She said that you will be hard-pressed to find someone in the Jewish community being praised for dying while committing a crime. As if to say that we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't be upset that police, when not provoked to kill someone for committing a crime. And I'm not saying, like, obviously George Floyd didn't murder 50 people. If someone murdered 50 people, maybe that grants them the right to be killed, If someone's going on a shooting spree, but then there's people who have been on shooting sprees, like these school shooters who kill a bunch of people and then get gently brought out in handcuffs and placed. Look, all I'm saying is that if George Floyd was this criminal that you speak of, then cool. Let him follow the prompts of what criminals have to follow. The fact that he was killed and the way that he was killed, it wasn't accidental. They didn't have to do that. And I'll even go as far as saying, if George Floyd was a white man in the same situation, who had the same exact life experiences, was under that cop's knee, and let's say was a black cop, if the roles were completely reversed, that would still be wrong. If someone does a crime, whatever, a crime could be anything. What, as far as what crimes are, like what's considered a crime, but it could have been whatever crime, unless it was like a mass shooting or something like that, where it calls, like, obviously I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, for what George Floyd was, being reprimanded for, whatever that was not just of the punishment he received.
In white America, you'll be hard-pressed to find this even in Latino America. There is
and that's also bullshit, because white people, they praise their criminals all the time. Whatever.
Person that is spent multiple times in prison. You are not going to see a bunch of Latinos coming out demanding justice for this person, even if, and I want to be very clear,
you may have never been in the hood before. I would assume that you and I come from the same place based on the color of your skin. I would assume that we've had a lot of the same experiences. But if you're saying that these people, I'm just let her finish. I'm just let her finish.
I'm saying is not any defense for Derek Chauvin. I hope Derek Chauvin gets the justice that he deserves to be, implemented upon him, and that the family of George Floyd deserves justice for the way that he died. But I also am not going to accept the narrative that this is the best the Black community has to offer. For whatever reason, it has become fashionable over the last 5 or 6 years for us to turn criminals into heroes overnight. And it is something that
All right. So as far as this point she's making, that we turn criminals into heroes, I'll speak for me because I have a lot of, I won't say a lot of friends who are or criminals, but I've had like encounters with a lot of people who've done criminal things. Like I've met a lot of I have a family full of a lot of drug dealers, a lot of drug addicts. I know friends who are deeply involved in gang culture. And it isn't that we think that these things are cool. We don't, we don't praise these people. Maybe in hip hop, you see rappers talking about these type of things and then they get praised, but that's just like music. There's we can go on for days about music and what it means to be praised for doing those things in music. But I mean, as far as people who are actually doing these things, and from the outside looking in at drug dealers and drug users, it's not that we praise them or champion them. It's that we understand them. When you come from the bottom and you see people doing whatever it is to survive, you know that it's not just a person deciding one day, hey, I'm gonna sell drugs. It's so much that goes into that. It's their environment. It's what they were taught. It's their family. It's so many different things that we don't accept. We don't accept what they're doing as a good thing, but we understand why they do it. Let me let her finish.
Find to be despicable, and it's something that I refuse to stand by any longer, and I am not going to play a part in it, no matter how much pressure comes from Black liberals and Black conservatives as some token of people wanting you to believe that this is the only way you can be Black, is you have to say this was wrong and that this person was amazing. I won't do that. George Floyd was not an amazing person, and as soon as this video hit the internet, I did just basic searches. Everyone jumped on it and was looking at the police officer, and everyone agrees that the police officer was wrong, and the police officer has been arrested. So that is not the reason I'm not discussing that, is because that is not something that has been misconstrued in the media. He has been turned into the devil that he is, and there is no reason for us to harp on that any longer, because white Americans are not uplifting Derek Chauvin as a victim or pretending that he's an amazing human being.
As a whole, no. And again, like, George Floyd may not have been an amazing person. And to be quite frank, I don't even know what an amazing person is. Like, what is an amazing person? Someone who feeds fucking deers out there the kindness of their heart, who lives in a fucking Disney movie? I don't know anybody like that. I don't know any amazing people. I just know regular people who go through shit like everyone else. I'm pretty sure if you took a deep dive into my life, who you don't know anything about, I'm sure you never met this man before, you would think I'm a terrible person. This is probably things that I've done that will make you feel like I'm a terrible person. You might feel like I'm a terrible person for making this video if you ever watch it. But that's not the point. The point isn't that he was a great person or not. The point is everything I've been saying. And I'm sure you have probably met people who've done very foul things. That doesn't mean like that every aspect of them is bad. It's not. I don't know. Let's just continue on.
But George Floyd is being uplifted as an amazing human being. And for those of you who have not yet seen the clips and did not pursue or wait for more clips to come out, first and foremost, George Floyd at the time of his arrest was high on fentanyl, and he was high on methamphetamine.
He was high on fentanyl and methamphetamines. So, I know this woman. I know her point is not that he's a bad person. And the first thing she says is that he was high. As if being high makes you automatically a bad person. So what you're trying to say is that if you're high and get killed by the cops, then we can't praise, we can't not even praise you. We can't say that, this was wrong and this shouldn't happen when it fucking happens to people who aren't high. It happens to people who aren't criminals. What is the point she's making?
This came back in both of his autopsy reports. If you pursue the 911 transcript, you can see the person describing somebody who is out of their mind high, and which is what made the person fearful, because he tried to use a bill that I guess was a fake bill to purchase something, and then he was outside acting weird, and they, in their police call, said that this person was obviously distorted on drugs. When he is put into...
All right, I live in New York City, right? And if you've ever been to New York, if you ever rode the subway, you'll see homeless, high, drunk people acting belligerent all the fucking time. All the time. Now, if I'd seen one of these people on one of their little episodes get killed by the police, I would think that's a problem. Would you not? It doesn't matter if they were fucking high or whatever the fuck. I just think in America, when we're supposed to have equal rights, if you arrest one person one way, but then for whatever reason choose to handle another arrest a different way, would that not be injustice in itself?
Handcuffs and is put against the wall. A baggie of what looks to be like cocaine or...
The nigga had cocaine on him. The nigga had cocaine. It's impossible to be a good person on cocaine or selling cocaine. And that's not even the fucking point. I'll even grant, look, I never met George Floyd, and I doubt you have met him. Whether or not he was a good person, I don't care if he was this horrible drug dealer, fucking armed robber. That's not the point. And it's not even the fact of him. It's the fact that this is America. This happens too often. I know many people who look like George Floyd. And I don't know. I don't know if the officer knew who George Floyd was before he killed him. Maybe he did. But if he didn't, do you think that officer put his knee on his neck because he was a horrible person? Is that why you think that happened? I don't think that's why that happened. Something's telling me that's not why that happened. I'll let you go on.
It's white. It's a white baggie that he drops onto the floor that you can see in an image. If you look up the clip, the media is refusing to circulate it. You can find it on Twitter. If you use DuckDuckGo and look up George Floyd baggie, you can watch the clip yourself with your own eyes. He had drugs on him at the time of his arrest. Now, barring all of that, nobody thinks that he should have died during this arrest. But
right.
What I find despicable to be is that everyone is pretending that this man lived a heroic lifestyle when he didn't. And I want to talk.
I haven't seen one post. I haven't seen one post of someone saying George Floyd was a hero or he lived a heroic life. I haven't seen one post. What I've been seeing is people mad as fuck that this shit keeps happening. He's not the only name people bring up during these protests. People bring up names from years ago. People bring up Sean Bell. People bring up Breonna Taylor. People bring up Trayvon Martin, even though he wasn't killed by a cop. The fucking justice system that cops are also held to, found George Zimmerman not guilty. They bring up all these names. Diallo, I've been hearing people bring him up. I've been hearing people bring up so many things, so many people, so many names. I mean, shit. Hold on. I might even have the post saved in my phone right now. Hold on. I know what I have it on Instagram. Hold on. Shit. I'm not editing this post right here. With all these people. Are you going to tell me that all these people, and this is just a small fraction of them, these are just the ones that got notoriety. You're going to tell me that all these people were fucking drug dealer, drug user, bad counterfeit money having people? No. This picture's about all, I mean, this, not this picture, this whole shit that's going on is about all these people. It's about all these people. And it's about people like me who are still alive. People like you. Black people who look like us. Being unjustifiably harassed by police and sometimes killed. It's for the people who are black while driving, hear the police sirens in the back, and their fucking heart sinks to their stomach because they don't know what the fuck's going to happen. It's the people who walk their dog at night, see a cop car where the two cops are staring at you eye to eye and don't know if they're going to pull over and harass you or not. It's for the people like that. It's for people like me who want to have families, who want to have children and have to worry about this shit for them. I don't want to live in a world where my kids have to be afraid to get pulled over by the cops because they don't know if they're going to fucking die for nothing, for reaching for their wallet. This woman's making it seem like George Floyd, in people's eyes, is a black hero, right up there with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. That's not what we're saying at all. Who's saying this?
About what his lifestyle was leading up to this moment, and why I refuse to accept the narrative that this person is a martyr or should be lifted up in the black community.
He's not a martyr.
Buying T-shirts with his name on it.
Okay.
So here we have.
So as far as that part, as far as people wearing shirts with his name on it, whether or not he was a good person, at this point, he's become a symbol of police brutality, police murder. I don't think people are wearing a t-shirt with George Floyd's face on it the same way they're wearing a t-shirt with Jay-Z's face on it, with Malcolm X's face on it, with Beyonce's face on it, with Lil Wayne's face, with Drake's face on it. When we wear those shirts, we're saying, I fuck with this person, what he did, hit the music that they made, the stances that they took. We're not wearing George Floyd t-shirts because we care about. People don't know this shit about him. And that's another thing. She's acting like people are praising George Floyd after knowing all this information about him. Have you ever been wrong about somebody? Even if there's people saying, oh, George Floyd's a hero. I don't think they read his rap sheet and then said it. They're probably saying it for the reasons that I'm speaking of, because they're tired of this shit going on over and over. George Floyd's face is not his face anymore. It's the face of the situation that happened. We're not wearing his face because we care about him so much as he's a symbol because of what happened to him. People aren't people aren't saying, yeah, you know what? George Floyd's a hero because he fucking was high. He was doing porn. He used to do porn and shit too. He used to do porn. He was a drug dealer. He was robbing stores. He was robbing people. People don't look at that shit and then say that. And then say he's a hero. And I don't even think people say he's a hero. But people are wearing shirts with his faces on it. People are doing art of his face. Not because of who he was. It's because it symbolizes what everyone knows when they see that face. When they see that face, they think of that video with the cop's knee on his neck.
Have first and foremost, let's start from the bottom of his record. And by the way, I am not saying that if you have a record, you don't deserve a second chance. I think people get arrested, and some people can serve time in prison, and I believe in second chances, but I do draw the line when it comes to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth chances. 1990.
Look, I know that she's not listening to me right now. Like, she's in the video. But it's like... Look, if he... I'll save my rant till after she finishes listing his rap sheet.
He spent 10 months in prison for theft with a firearm. That was the first prison stint that I could find on him. In 2002, he spent 8 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2004, just 2 years later, he spent another 10 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2005, he spent another 10 months in prison for having less than 1 gram of cocaine on him again. In 2007, and this was the biggest instant that I had that made me realize this was a horrible human being that I am not going to pretend was.
Here he comes. Here's the kicker.
2005, a woman who was pregnant received a knock at the door, and she went to the door, and the person pretended to be someone that worked for the water department. So she opened her door and quickly realized that the person at her door did not work for the water department and attempted to slam it. At the moment that she was attempting to slam it, a Ford pulled up and another 5 men jumped out of the car, and one of which was George Floyd, came up to the door, and they forced their way inside to her home, inside of her home. Mind you, this woman is pregnant. At that point, George Floyd took out a gun and pressed it to her stomach. She was screaming, begging for her life, and he put her inside of her living room and instructed one of his criminal friends that was with him to watch her and to make sure she didn't leave the living room. So he was playing guard.
Who the fuck messaged me just now? Did you hear that? Am I bugging out? Oh. Okay, yeah. Look, that was fucked up. I like I like how she mentioned they one of his friends was instructed to watch her. Like, that was the most crucial part of the whole story. But regardless of that, that was a fucked up thing, to rob someone's house and to point a gun at a pregnant woman's stomach. Fucked up. I'm sure he went to jail for that. I think later on in this video, because this is where like I stopped watching, because this is where I went to make the video response. But yeah, I think he went to jail for that, and like I've said this thousands of times already in this video, hyperbolic obviously, but I've said this already. Whether or not he was a good person isn't why we're talking about this issue. Again, if it was just George Floyd this happened to, if this was, one isolated incident, we would have swept this under the rug by now. We would have been like, damn, a cop killed somebody. It's fucked up. We are outraged because this happens all the time. George Floyd was the most recent thing that has happened to where people, this went viral, to where people, wanted to protest and wanted to speak out against the entire issue. Never did we say, these cops shouldn't have killed George Floyd. I mean, no, granted, people have said that. But what I'm saying is, no one's saying it because it was George Floyd. We're saying it because we can clearly see by watching the video that they didn't need to kill him. They didn't need to beat him up in the back of that police car. They didn't need to have him on the ground with a fucking knee to his neck for 8 minutes until a nigga died. If he did that crime, he should completely suffer consequences. Completely. That's not what's going on. That's not what we're up in arms about. We're not even praising. I'm gonna let her finish.
While they ransacked her home looking for drugs and money, they did not find drugs. They ended up taking, I believe, her wallet and her cell phone. fortunately for her, her neighbor observed what was going on and caught the license plate of the people as they pulled off and called 911. And when 911 was able to, they were able to track down the car, of which George Floyd was the driver, and they arrested him. And 2 years later, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for that instance. Now, you can
So let me let her finish real quick.
say the media is portraying it like he was just getting his life together after, being released in 2014 following that incident. He was just getting his life together and moved and was going to start afresh. I'd like to.
It's almost as if like this is a touchy thing to say, because obviously, like, robbing someone, putting a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach is very fucked up thing to do to someone. Like, it's a very fucked up thing. But like, it's almost as if she heard this story about George Floyd and was like, I wonder if George Floyd was a good person. Let me Google everything he's been through to see if I should retweet this tweet. Like, this is not even the point of everything. Look, when I see George Floyd, or when I see pictures of George Floyd, I don't think of, man, this guy, this guy was a great guy. I see me. I see people that look like me. I see the other stories that I know of where this shit happens. I see every other black person who's killed by the cops for no reason. If he was doing these horrible things, he should go to jail again, like you said in this video. He was sentenced to 5 years, right? I'm not saying black people are exempt from going to jail. If he's caught doing a crime, let him go to jail. The fact that he was killed, and then the fact that there are other people out there with my same skin complexion or darker who have been killed by the cops for not having this rap sheet, for not having white baggies fall from his pockets, from not buying things in stores with fake 20s, for simply being black. And then we see this shit. Have you watched any of these protests? Have you seen these riots? Have you heard people saying they're fed up? You know why they say they're fed up? It's because this isn't one thing. This is a whole. This has been years and years and years and years of this shit. This shit. And again, do you think that cop had his knee on his neck because he knew that he robbed that woman before? Because that same officer was doing shit like this long before he had an encounter with George Floyd. No. He wasn't on the ground that day because of all this shit you're talking about. He was on the ground that day because he was black. Whether or not he was a good person doesn't matter at that point. We're asking for equal justice. That's it. For those 4 cops involved, for the cops who killed Breonna Taylor, for anybody who kills a cop, who kills a black citizen for no reason. Any cop who kills a black citizen for no reason. We're asking for equal justice for all of that. It just so happens that George Floyd was the tipping point, and this is what got people's attention. It just so happens. Jesus fucking Christ. Let her finish. Let her finish.
Believe all of those things, and there's a gap, and he never got in trouble for 5 years until this incident when the police were called on him again. But you are defying common sense to believe that this person suddenly became an exemplary character, but happened to be high on fentanyl and methamphetamine, and trying to.
Do you know why people get high? I'm not even going to elaborate further on this point, but I hope somehow this video gets back to you. or someone who thinks like you, and I want you to think. I don't even want to explain because I want you to use your own critical thinking. Do you know why people get high? Or I'll say, do you know why people like George Floyd get high? Just think about that for a second. Just think about it. Maybe write a comment.
You use a bill, a fake bill to purchase something. And so, in my opinion, George Floyd was a criminal. He was a criminal. And just because he was a criminal doesn't mean he deserved to die at the knee of a police officer. But it does.
If that's what you're saying,
mean that I am not going to play a part of the broken black culture.
The broken. If you're not. We're not making this narrative. This isn't our narrative. We are broken black culture. Do you see what we've been through? Do you know how crack cocaine got in our neighborhoods? Do you know why the Black Panther Party was dismantled? Do you know why Martin Luther King died? Do you know why? Do you know why George Zimmerman didn't go to jail for killing Trayvon? Do you know why those cops shot Sean Bell 50 times? Do you know why Black Wall Street was burnt down and bombed? Do you know why I can't apply for certain jobs with a certain black sounding name? Do I need to go on? Do I really need to go on? We are broken. Because they fucking broke us. and I hate to sound like, oh, black people are victims. And I hear people always say that shit. Black people always play the victim card. I'm not look, I wasn't out here talking about this shit as heavily as I'm talking about it now. I feel like if we don't talk about this, it just gets swept under the rug, and then this shit happens again, and then what? Do we deal with this forever? Do we wait until it's the right model citizen that gets killed by the cops before we think it's wrong? Before we speak out about it? Before we riot and protest about it? Do we wait for that? Do we wait till it's you? Does it have to be you dying for us to be angry? No, it doesn't take that. And it shouldn't have even taken George Floyd. We should have been doing this. And it doesn't even need to be a death. It could be something as simple as being harassed by police. We shouldn't have to be harassed by police if we're not doing anything wrong. It isn't just him. It's all these instances. It's all these names and the pictures that I just showed. It's all of that. It's the fact that we get harassed because we're black. Not because we're criminals. Not because we're model citizens. Not because we're Republicans or Democrats or Jewish or Christian or nothing. Gay, trans, straight, man, woman. It's because we're fucking black. That's why we're so upset. That's why we said, all right, justice for Floyd. Because whether or not he was a criminal, a good person, justice should be equal. And it isn't.
That always wants to martyr criminals, who wants to pretend they were these upstanding human beings that just wanted to help society, that just wanted to
martyr criminals? Do you know what country we live in? I think you live in America. I'm not going to assume that. But maybe you're not. Maybe you live somewhere else. I don't fucking know. This is my first time ever seeing you. But whenever we pledge allegiance to the flag, we're martyring criminals. This country was you know how this country was founded. I know you know how this country was founded. I know how you know this country was built. I know you know who built this country and why they built it and why they were forced to build this country the way they built it. Martyring criminals. We do that shit every day in school. Our kids are being forced to martyr criminals. And I'm not saying because George Floyd was a criminal, he should be martyred. I'm not even saying he should be martyred. I'm not saying he should be praised because of who he was. I'm saying we should protest because he was killed the way he was killed. Simple as that. I've been on this case. I've been reading through these stories so much. These tweets and responses to this situation so much. And I've never seen a black person say, man, other than like his immediate friends and family, I've never heard someone say, man, you know what? George Floyd was a really good dude. It's a shame that they did this to George Floyd. He was just a great guy. He was the man. He was great. He was a good guy. No one's saying that. They're saying they're tired of systematic oppression. I don't know if you're pushing a narrative here or arguing a straw man, like a strongman argument where you're just arguing something that no one's brought up, but I haven't seen this. That isn't my stance on the situation because I have people in my life who are affected by this shit. Nigga, I'm black. I walk around these... Man.
Reach out and uplift society. And he has a rap sheet that is long, that is dangerous.
You don't need...
Example of a violent...
You don't need to uplift society to have equal rights, to have equal justice. I don't walk around uplifting society all goddamn day, but you guaranteed if I get arrested or stopped by the cops, I would want to have the same rights as everyone who gets stopped by the cops. I would want to be handled how I should be handled. I don't want to know that I could watch a news story of a white kid shooting up a school and get better treatment than fucking George Floyd, who to my knowledge hasn't ever killed anyone, let alone killed over dozens of kids. Come on. You can't beat that ass, bro. You can't beat that ass. Candace. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Criminal his entire life, okay? Up until the very last moment. Now, again, I want to be clear. This is not a defense for Derek Chauvin. No one that I have spoken to, no one in the news is defending Derek Chauvin. He is getting what he has coming to him. Okay, great. But why are we pretending that this criminal should be upheld as a citizen?
We're not.
As a martyr.
We're not.
America. A martyr for a fake narrative, by the way. Police brutality, racially motivated police brutality is a myth, okay? So let's...
Racially motivated police brutality is a myth. Racially motivated police brutality is a myth. Quote of the fucking year. I got 99 problems and the bitch ain't one. Racially motivated police brutality is a myth. Which one do you think is a better quote? Which one do you think is a more memorable quote?
Get into that. Not only are we using this death, right, and allowing it to cause these riots and protests, pretending this was...
My nigga, police brutality is going on in these fucking protests. And it's racially motivated. People are getting shot by rubber bullets. People are getting... I know for a fact she's seen videos from way back when there was black and white TVs during the civil rights era where people were getting hosed down by cops. And this is a bad freeze frame on her. Let me move her out the way real quick because that's embarrassing. But I know you can't be fucking... All right, let me see why she says what she says. Before I jump the gun, let's let her explain herself.
upstanding citizen in the black community who was tackled down and killed for no reason, right? Not only are we allowing it to inspire riots, right?
It happens. That happens though. Maybe in George Floyd's case that wasn't what happened. But there has been times where people have gotten killed for being black for no reason. Yeah, it happens. Sorry to burst your bubble, it fucking happens.
Riots in which black people are dying, in which actual upstanding black citizens are dying. Case in point, I'm sure you guys have all now seen David, the sheriff that just was shot and killed because he was trying to protect a pawn shop. Please look him up if you haven't seen it. I'm blanking on his last name. His first name is David, who was shot and killed for trying to protect a pawn shop from looters. An upstanding citizen, an actual head of a police. He was the head of a police his entire life. 77 years old, did everything right, right? So we now have to kill upstanding black citizens because a non-upstanding black citizen, a career black criminal, died. Now, did he deserve to die in that manner? No. I can't say it enough. No, he didn't deserve to die in that manner. But I will be damned if the rest of us upstanding black citizens have to suffer because of this incident that rarely ever happens in America. So here are some numbers for you people.
Rarely ever happens in America. Rarely ever happens in America. This rarely ever happens. This rarely ever happens. All right, copy.
People that are still believing that police brutality is a real, racially motivated police brutality is a real thing. First and foremost, okay, you have a 25% higher chance as a violent white criminal of dying at the hands of a police officer than you do as a black criminal. Last year, a total of 9 unarmed black men were killed by police officers, and 19 white men were killed by police officers. For those of you that aren't good at mathematics, right, you might be thinking, oh, but Candace, white people represent 60% of the population and black people represent just 13% of the population. It doesn't matter what percentage of the population you represent. It matters what percentage of the violent criminal community you represent. And unfortunately, black community commits a disproportionate amount of crimes compared to the white community. Let me tell you, 6% of the population, right, black men, 6% of the population account for 44% of all murders in this country, according to 2018 statistics. That is what you call a gap. And yet white people who...
I wonder if police are included in this census of a percentage of murders in this country. Do you think police are accounted for in this? Let's let her continue.
Represent 60% of the population. We represent 13. Black men are 6%. Only represent 50% of all the murders, right? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. A 6-point variation in a community where we are extreme minorities. We commit 50% of all violent offenses, evenly split, and we're only 13% of the population, okay? So we have a lot more encounters with police officers. And don't say the police officers are coming around because we're black. I'm talking about violent criminals.
What about people who aren't violent criminals? Or what about people who aren't violent criminals who get killed by police? Or harassed by police? Or decide to protest and get shot by rubber bullets from police? Or does any of this matter? What about people who get pulled over by the cops for a tail light, reach for their wallet, and get shot? What about people like that? Is that a myth? Am I making that shit up? I'm not making that shit up. What about quotas that police in black communities have to fill? What about the deep ties in the KKK? I mean, the deep ties of the KKK in the police force. Is that a fucking myth? Yo, I know you're older than me. I know you know this. I know you know this. If I know this shit and I'm significantly younger than you, I think I might just be, maybe I'm older than you. Who knows? I don't know you. But what I'm saying is, if I know this stuff, you should know this shit too. This is not myths. You think I've never heard a KKK member being shot with a rubber bullet because they were protesting in one of their marches. Never seen that. Never seen that. I'll give you I want you to name me 2 times that happened, and I promise you I'll cash up you or send you $100. If you want to make it quick, 100 cash, send me a link of a KKK member getting shot with a rubber bullet on one of their goddamn marches. We got a deal. We got a fucking deal.
I'm talking about murder. 44% of murders, okay? You want to talk about real statistics? The police officers have way more to be fearful of in the black community than the other way around, okay? We commit, on average, a police officer is 18 and a half times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. Okay? So this entire narrative is complete smoke and mirrors. It's all made up. It's just election fodder. It's white versus black because it's an election year, not because black Americans are suffering at the hands of police officers more than white Americans. Do some police officers do the wrong thing? Yes. I don't think there's anybody in the world who has not encountered a police officer and thought this person is an absolute jerk who is power tripping, whether you are black or white. We know they exist. And we know they're always going to exist, by the way, because they're human beings. And sometimes human beings suck. In fact, if you want to attack a community for accidental slayings or brutality, did you know that doctors accidentally kill 250,000 people every year because of mistakes? Did you know that there's been doctors...
So there's no difference between a doctor making a mistake during the surgery and a cop killing someone on purpose. There's no difference there. Let's protest the doctors, why don't we? Are you fucking dead ass, bro? You can't. 2020 is wild. 2020 is the wildest year of my life. Oh my god.
That have been arrested for being serial killers, that just for killing people.
Oh, so they've been arrested for being serial killers. Wow, these cops aren't being arrested for it. Here's some, since you want to bring up numbers so bad, let's bring up fucking numbers. Between the years of 2013 and 2019, 7,666 people were killed by police officers. Out of those 7,666 incidences, only 25 cops resulted in a conviction. 74 resulted in a charge but no conviction. And out of that 7,666, 7,567 of them had no charges whatsoever. And you want me to and you're telling me that doctors who've been arrested for serial killing, it's the same thing. We're asking for fucking justice. And these cops aren't being brought to justice like that doctor, like those serial killer doctors are. You said they've been arrested for it. We're asking for cops to be arrested for it. You can't be dead at. You're not real. You're not real. Who's putting you up to this? I know propaganda when I see it. And I see it. I caught you. I know it if it looks like a duck and you quacking and I see your feathers. Who's putting you up to this?
Because they wanted to. Do we protest and boycott doctors? Do we assume all doctors are horrible human beings because some doctors are?
I wonder what those numbers are. Why didn't you bring those? Why don't you bring those statistics out? You brought out the other statistics. Why don't you bring up the numbers of doctors who are serial killers who don't get convicted? Let's get those numbers. You got me hot.
Or do we realize that society is not perfectible? People suck in every profession. It is no excuse to paint society with a broad brush. It is certainly no excuse.
People sucking in every profession versus cops killing people because they're black. And even if it's not because they're black, cops killing people, period, is wrong.
To accept a Democrat narrative, okay, that black people
There it
are
is.
being disproportionately hunted down
There it
by police
is.
officers because of the color of their skin.
There it is. I found the propaganda. I told you. I saw it. I seen it, and it's right there. I seen it. I told you I saw it, and it's right there. God damn it.
You want to know the best way to avoid?
It only took us an hour.
Brutalized by a police officer is to limit the amount of encounters you need to have with them, especially when it comes to.
If you want to know how to stop being killed by cops, let's limit the amount of times you have to. As if there's never been a time where someone has been killed by a cop for not doing anything that will make a cop come at them. Again, Breonna Taylor. What did she do? What did she do wrong? What did she do wrong? What did she do wrong? She's got about 4 minutes left in this video, but I don't think I can take any more of this. So we're just gonna get her on out of there. Let's get her out. Picture. I'm sorry. I told myself I was gonna finish this video. But I can't. I can't finish. I can't finish. I'm sorry. Here's my excuse me. Moved the wrong thing. Here's my fuck. I keep doing that. God damn it. Here is my social media handle. You can find me. I can't finish this response. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't fucking do it.